This is Howie with Think Fixed. In this series of videos, we will be addressing some of your most annoying Mac problems. We will be adding more of these videos in the coming months, so please check back often. In this video, we're going to talk about what to do when your Mac gets slow. But now you're saying, wait! Macs never have problems. What are you talking about? In fact, they do. But the good thing is that solving these problems is far easier on a Mac than on a Windows PC. If your Mac gets slow, there's always a reason for it. You may have apps that launch slowly, and maybe your Mac also boots up slowly. Your apps may be crashing a lot too. And maybe you've been visited by the dreaded spinning beach ball of death. Actually, its real name is Wait Cursor, but I digress. So let's take a look at some of the common reasons why your Mac can get slow. Does your desktop look like this? Believe it or not, having all of these icons on your desktop isn't as awesome as you think it is. Your Mac needs a lot of memory to display all of these icons. Since a lot of Apple's low-end Macs come with only 4 GB of memory, you need to be careful about loading up your desktop with too many icons. If you typically keep a lot of apps running, but you really don't need them all, quit some of them. This will free up memory and help speed up your Mac. Rebooting your Mac clears used memory and temporary files. It's a good idea to do this after you've been working on tasks that are very memory and process intensive. Rebooting is often forgotten as a troubleshooting step even by Mac gurus like me. Actually, I don't like the name guru. Mac Genius is much better. Sometimes your Mac just needs some disk repair. You can perform a repair by booting into your Mac's recovery partition. Starting with OS X Lion, all Macs have a small portion of their hard drive or SSD designated as a recovery partition. You can boot into the recovery partition by restarting your Mac while holding down the Command key along with the letter R key. Booting into the recovery partition will take a little longer than normal. After you have clicked past the Languages screen, click the Utilities menu and then select Disk Utility. Select your hard drive or SSD from the sidebar and then click First Aid. Click Run when prompted. This process can take several minutes to run. If a repair is needed, it will be done automatically. If you wish to see the progress of the repair in more detail, click the Show Details arrow. When the process is finished, click Done. Using Disk Utility is basically the same in versions of OS X prior to El Capitan. In OS X Yosemite and earlier, there is also an option to perform a permissions repair. Permissions repair is no longer needed in OS X El Capitan because the OS will perform this function automatically when your Mac is restarted. When you're finished with Disk Utility, use the Apple menu to restart your Mac. Is your Mac properly spec'd for your needs? Let's check how much memory is installed. Memory is also referred to as Random Access Memory, or RAM. The more you have installed, the more apps you can run at the same time without a slowdown. To check how much memory is installed on your Mac, click the Apple menu at the top left side of your screen and select About this Mac. In the window that appears, you can see the amount of installed memory that you have, along with additional information that you may need if you request help from Think Fixed or AppleCare. In this example, we see that I have only 4 GB of RAM installed. That's not good if I want to have a lot of apps open, use Photoshop, or create movies in iMovie. Anything less than 8 GB of RAM is not good because you will be limited to only basic tasks or to only a few process or memory intensive tasks. If your Mac has a conventional hard drive installed, you should consider replacing it with a solid-state drive. often called an SSD or flash storage. An SSD has no moving parts, and your Mac will boot faster. Applications will launch faster, and if you work with graphics, audio, or video, your apps will be able to save your work faster. Are you getting it? The key word is faster. Before you upgrade to a solid-state drive, you should take a moment to figure out how much storage you need with your new SSD. The best way to check this is to open Disk Utility, which you will find in your Applications folder inside of Utilities. Disk Utility will show you how much drive space is used by different types of data. It will show you how large your current drive is, how much storage is used, and how much storage is available. The key here is to choose an SSD that will give you the same or more storage depending on your needs. Be careful with getting an SSD that is smaller than the hard drive that you have now. Doing so means that you will be left with not enough storage in the future. While you're here, let's check the condition of your drive to make sure that there are no errors detected. The Smart Status seen here is the drive's built-in self-monitoring analysis and reporting technology. This feature detects and reports on various indicators of drive reliability with the intent of enabling the anticipation of hardware failures. If the status is anything but verified, you need to replace this drive immediately. It means that failure is imminent, and this could have been the reason behind the slow performance you have experienced. Another tool that is helpful in figuring out what is slowing down your Mac is Activity Monitor, which you will find inside your Applications folder in Utilities. Activity Monitor allows you to view the running processes on your Mac, and it helps you identify what apps are consuming a lot of memory and processing power. After you launch Activity Monitor, take a moment to set it to show you all processes, rather than just those that were launched by your user account. You may need more detail if you request help from ThinkFixed or AppleCare. To do this, click the View menu and select All Processes. Now that we have Activity Monitor open, we can see that iMovie is running at high CPU. When we click the Memory tab, we can see what apps and processes are consuming a lot of RAM. These could be responsible for slowing down your Mac. The kernel task process normally consumes about 1 GB of RAM. This is normal. Kernel task is the core component of the Mac OS, and it is always running. Another thing that can slow down your Mac is cache files. Cache is data on your Mac that is meant to speed up the operation of apps by keeping copies of frequently used files and settings. The problem is that cache can become corrupt, which results in slower performance. Deleting the cache files is easy. From your desktop, click the Go menu while holding down the Option key on your keyboard. Select Library. Next, click Caches. Use Command-A or the File menu to select all, and then right-click or Control-click to move everything in the Caches folder to the trash. You should then reboot your Mac after doing this to ensure that none of your apps are still holding on to this data. Sometimes, an OS reinstall is needed to restore your Mac's normal speed. This is easier than you might think, and before you do a reinstall, you should make sure that you have a current backup. This is just in case something goes wrong with the reinstall. To reinstall OS X, use the Apple menu to open the App Store. Find OS X by using the search field at the top right. Click the Download button. The download will take a while. The OS X installer is several gigabytes in size. The installer will auto-launch when the download is finished. After the download is completed, follow the steps to reinstall OS X. The reinstall process can take about 30 minutes to an hour, depending on if your Mac has a standard hard drive or an SSD installed. Just sit back and be patient. After the reinstall is finished and your Mac has been restarted, allow any auto-launching apps and other processes to finish. Then, try out launching apps to find out if the reinstall helped. If your Mac is still slow after following steps and suggestions from this video, don't give up and don't get mad. It's time to get help. Thanks for watching. Please contact us if you would like to have Think Fixed help your business succeed with technology. No snails or computers were harmed while making this video.